This is the sagittal section of the skull of the cattle. So this is the cranial cavity. Generally the cranial cavity, it has, this is the roof of the cranial cavity, this is the floor, and the lateral wall of the cranial cavity. The roof of the cranial cavity, this is formed by which bone? That is the frontal bone. ठीक है, जो रूफ होता है, so that is formed by the frontal bone. This is the floor. The floor, it is formed by the pre-sphenoid, the post-sphenoid, and the base-occipital. So the floor of the cranial cavity, it is formed by the sphenoid bone and the base-occipital. That is the anterior wall. This is the anterior wall. You can see from here. The anterior wall, this is formed by the ethmoid bone. ठीक है, this is the anterior wall that is formed by the ethmoid bone. This is the posterior wall. The posterior wall, it is formed by the occipital bone. That is the supraoccipital is the squamous part, and this is the lateral part of the occipital bone. They form the posterior wall of the cranial cavity. ठीक है, ये posterior wall हो गया, ये anterior wall यहाँ से हो गया, and this is the roof, this is the floor. Now the lateral wall of the cranial cavity, the lateral wall, they are formed by, this is the frontal bone, this is the parietal bone, and this is the temporal bone. They form the lateral wall of the cranial cavity. So this is the this was all about the cranial cavity of the skull of the ox. This cranial cavity, it encloses what? Brain, the protective covering of the brain, that are the meninges plus blood vessels. ठीक है, तो इसमें brain होता है, उसके जो protective covering, that is the meninges and the blood vessels, they are present here in this cranial cavity. ठीक है, so this cranial cavity, it is divided into 3 compartments. One, this is the larger compartment, that is called a cerebral compartment. Here this one, that is the cerebellar compartment, and here this is the this one, that is, this is known as olfactory compartment. ठीक है, ये olfactory compartment हो गया, ये cerebral compartment हो गया, this is the cerebral compartment. Now here I will show the different parts of this sagittal section. This is the sphenoid, this is the base-occipital. You can see this here is the foramen, that is known as, this is the condyloid foramen. This is the condyloid foramen, this is the hypoglossal foramen, and you can see here from the dotted line, so that represents the condyloid canal. ठीक है, so it represents the condyloid canal. So यहाँ से मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ, this is the condyloid foramen. So यहाँ से जाएगा, to come from here, this, so this canal, here it is the condyloid canal. ठीक है, this is the condyloid canal. This is the internal acoustic meatus, and this bone here, that is the petrous part of the temporal bone. ठीक है, ये temporal bone होती है. This is the internal acoustic meatus, and here this is the foramen ovale. This is the hypoglossal foramen, and here you can see from here, if you see this foramen, this is the foramen lacerum here. This is the foramen lacerum. From here, this is the foramen lacerum from here. So this was all about the cranial cavity.